think that Days and Nights in the Forest came at a moment when Ray was looking for a way to express, for the first time really, his feelings towards the new generation of Bengali youth. He had been made conscious, even more than he had become conscious himself, of his preoccupation with the past in his films, with rural society, and his abstaining from participation, from involvement with modern urban existence and the Bengali youth. To express this, what he does is something quite new in his year, which is to take a structure a little like Renoir's Le Règle du Jeu, in which different characters and different relationships are developed side by side. Instead of making one person the most important character, even more than in Règle du Jeu, in Days and Nights in the Forest, the four characters are, and their relationships are almost equally treated, with equal importance. This is a structure which Ray never uses again. It's the first and only time that he does, I think. I think I'm right in saying that. It's his first essay on Bengali youth of today. And it's a tentative essay. He doesn't exactly know how he feels. He's discovering his own feelings towards this group, and trying to think what they would do in a given situation. And he takes a story which takes them out of their normal living situation and takes them into an area outside the city where they can express themselves more clearly, more without restraint. And the fact that they come across these women while in this area also helps to bring out their responses towards things, their attitudes to life, their shade of carelessness that there is in them. And then there's this man, Shubhendu, the actor named Shubhendu, who's attracted to this widow. But when this woman offers herself to him almost, he immediately shies away. In other words, there is an underlying statement that there is an irresponsibility in arousing a reaction and then denying it. If you have provoked a certain reaction, then you must be able to face it and bear the consequences of it. You cannot run away from it. There is a moral statement there. Similarly, in the case of Ashim, the main protagonist played by Soumitra Chatterjee, there is a sense of compulsion in him of seducing the girl. And as if it is his duty to do so. That he's a man who belongs to this age and this society, and if he comes across a good-looking and soft-spoken girl, then it is his duty to seduce her. He again is not aware of the responsibility which that creates. She is unlike the other girls, she is aware of the responsibility. That is why she always dodges him, and she knows how to play with him without giving any ground to him. This is a very subtle play that takes place between these two people. And it is contrasted to the relationships of the others between the tribal girl and the football player kind of character. And the fourth person who just looks at the others and can't organize anything for himself. So it is not a very positive, approving portrait of modern youth. It has a sense of doubt within it, and has a sense of the way these youths are going to go, which way they're going to go, morally, what path they're going to take. That path is later outlined in other films, but the outcome is heralded, hinted at, in a very subtle manner. Probably it is this interplay of character and the subtlety of the interplay which gained a lot of admirers for the film in France and in certain other European countries. The film was not as well received in India and in Bengal. For first, I think there was a lack of response to the subtlety of the organization of the film, and also because the nature of the apprehension of the characters is such that there are no clear-cut formulations, because of which people who are used to clear-cut formulations were not attracted to it. They did not quite respond to the hints that were being sent out from the film. I know it has been said by a French critic, yes, that this film probably expresses Ray at his best more than any other film. The essence of Ray. I'm not entirely in agreement with that. I think that yes, there is a certain a voyage of discovery where Ray discovers for himself certain things, and he guesses at the meanings of certain things and tries to understand the new generation. And from that point of view, it's something very new in his career, something that he does not repeat, as a matter of fact. In later films he comes out much more directly, approval or disapproval. And structurally also he's more subtle here than in most of his other films, later films that is. It's, in a sense, I think it is his most European film. That is possibly why the French critic responded in this way. There's a very complex statement and structure in a later film like The Chess Players, Shatranj Ka Khiladi, where a lot of resources are used, all kinds of forces that Ray did not use in earlier films are brought together technically in every way, but in a way that is very Indian, much more Indian in a way than in Days and Nights in the Forest, where he is frankly the outsider. He does not involve himself. He is not himself within the picture, present within the picture. He's an observer, and he creates a certain distance, which gives it an objectivity. That's different from the other Ray films, where his empathy is very, very obvious, very clear. I think that in this film, Ray when he begins his assessment of our times, he brings straight away into it a subtle disapproval of what he sees. It is a falling away from his moral point of view and standard. And it begins him on a certain course of disapproval, which becomes manifest in his Calcutta films, where his moral judgment of his protagonist becomes very clear. It is the beginning of the fall of Oppu. His earlier characters, you might say, most of them, the young men, are Oppu's repeatedly coming up again and again. Here it is, Oppu goes into the negative from the positive. And he has entered into a new and different world where the values which he cherished, which Oppu had learned, which he had imbibed, no longer work. So, film by film, he compromises with evil and goes down further and further until he comes to this John Oren, film John Oren, The Big City, in which Oppu finally is reduced to supplying call girls in order to live, in order to go ahead in life, which is so different from, say, the way he cries out in Oppu Sangshari, when he comes out with a long poem of Rabindranath, which he recites with great verve, and proclaims his idealism to the world, to himself. Here, that idealism has gradually gone into the shade, and he is compromised with evil, and gradually becomes a part of the evil which is around him. It is the evolution of the character of Oppu, which in a sense you might say is himself. A product of the Tagorean value world, who is unable to stand up against evil and to fight it, and has to accept it and become part of it.
To end up with this session, I would like to ask your opinion about that memory game in Days and Nights in the Forest.
One of the most outstanding scenes in the film, in Days and Nights in the Forest, is the memory game. The way he moves from face to face and from action to action, and gradually builds up the relationship between them, between this group, and their relationship with the outside world in the background, in the names that they take, the games they play, the words they use. The outside world is constantly suggested. And the cutting from face to face is something very different from the Hollywood from Hollywood cutting, and yet it is a new kind of cutting which he uses compared to his earlier films, where he in fact follows the Hollywood way of shooting the face and then over the shoulder and cutting to the other side much more faithfully than he does here. Here he is much more innovative. He's creating the technique for himself, and then more than in his other films, even some of his best films, he uses a more straightforward Hollywood technique than he does here.
And about Dulal Duda?
Dulal, that is a difficult question. Because
maybe let's leave it for
yes, because it is very difficult to decide how much of the decision making was Ray's and how much was Dulal's.
Definitely.
And Dulal, he trained Dulal, and Dulal was often able to anticipate what he wants and suggest something that he would know that the director would want. But the director's own power over the editing was very strong, very strong. In fact, if I talk about it, it's the other side which will come out, that Ray's control of the editing was so complete.
Would be nice also, that maybe let's leave it for the next session.
Okay.
Thank you so much. It was really interesting.
Good. This is right.